distractions. This is our second webinar of the year, and I'm looking up because my screen is up that way, so I gotta look here. What I have sharing in the screen is a little bit about our online professional development. And this is, you can find this in our website and our past webinars, but pretty much this is presented with for the California Association, for each association that is, and we encourage you to join us. And this is part of our professional development for everybody to use. Now today we're gonna have Russ, who is gonna cover tech tools, and he'll introduce himself, right?
Yes, I will.
Okay, I'm gonna stop my sharing here.
And I'm gonna share my screen here, and let's go to desktop.
It's all yours.
Excellent. Well, I wanted to say first off, thank you to everybody for joining us today. This is a rather specific tech tools training in that it really is for those who are either less sure about or comfortable with using the technology that we've been provided and or newer people to the university. And the intent is to really show you some of the tools that have been provided to us at no charge, as well as some additional things that you may find helpful in your day-to-day either management of the program, or if you're out working with youth and families in the community, some audience engagement tools and some things like that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to do my best to keep track of the little chat pod as well. Charles, if you could help me out with that while I'm presenting. I'm going to switch back and forth between my presentation and the internet. And I will provide this presentation for you. And in the presentation are the links already built into each of the slides. So you can just click on the links in the slides for the things that I'll share. So just as by way of sharing, our expected outcomes today will be participants will know where to find UC provided technology tools. Participants will learn about specific tools to increase productivity and accuracy. And participants will also learn about tools to increase collaboration among your colleagues and clientele. So the very first one, we should all be aware of this one, although not everybody is. Typically, I found that our county staff, the paid staff from the county, are less aware of the A&R portal than are the folks that we have that are hired on as part of the university. But I want to spend some time talking about this, and I'm going to actually go to the website now. And you're welcome to join to actually go directly to the A&R portal and join me. So if you haven't logged in yet, the way you find that is, take a look up here. So that's the link, but I find it faster if you just type in my.ucanr.edu. That's the short link that will take you directly to the portal. And here you are where we're at today. The portal, everyone's portal is going to look very different because we can add different aspects to the portal and have all these different collaborative tools and so on, but I'm going to share a couple of these items with you first. The first is my very favorite, and it's called the survey tool, and most of you have at least taken one survey probably in your life, and at least one survey through the university system. And if you look on the right-hand side, there are 3 columns here. And on the right-hand side, the rightmost column, towards the bottom, you'll have this thing called surveys, and you can log into the surveys that are available for you. If you're running a 4-H program, you'll all have at least a few of these, which is the adult interest survey. So you may already have those created for you and added directly to your system. But what I like about this is the ability to collect any kind of information I'd like to. My favorite happens to be outreach documentation. So I'm going to go to this to this survey. This is what it looks like. I clicked on my link. This was already been created. Lynn Schmidt-McQuitty developed this, and we've all had fun over the many years kind of adapting it. This tool allows me to collect the outreach methods from my community club leaders in 3 counties in a format that I can then enter into my CASA reporting and so on. And I'll show you what it looks like. So this is exactly the same information we capture in the annual planner that our club leaders have. And you can see I have the information here. It asks for this information, and so I send this out as a link to our community club leaders, so I don't have to re-enter the data, so that I don't have to have somebody else re-enter the data, and that I'm getting the information that I need and that is required of me in my reporting. And then I've also added some upload files, and this is where people can upload examples of your materials and flyers and so on. And this is all done and created through the portal as part of this survey tool. So let me show you what it looks like. I want to edit the survey. And we'll look at the questions here. And this is what it looks like on the survey edit page. I add questions about county, and you can make this little star means they're required. So here I have 3 counties, and it's a click box. So they have to select one they have to select one. They can't be from 3 counties. I'm asking for the name just so I know who's reported that information and what the club is. If you've got for me, I have 3 counties that I oversee, but in your case, if you want to collect this data, again, just using this as an example, if you wanted to collect this data, you may actually put here a drop-down list of the clubs. I put this here because I have the 3 counties, so that would be somewhere around 55 clubs for them to select from, and I thought it'd be easier for them just to type it in this case. And they're all open-ended questions. And the last thing they can do is add a box with the uploaded documents in there. So this is really one of the best tools I think that A&R has provided us. And I'm going to pause with that actually, and let me find out, are there any questions? I'm not seeing any in the chat pod, but I will pause and ask, are there any right now on this regarding the survey tool? Okay, looks like there is one here. Let me see if I can get that to pop up. Nope. So the next one I want to talk about is actually the hierarchy function that has been provided to us for searching the internet through A&R. So one of the things we have, and I'm going to go directly to ucanr.edu. And what I mean by hierarchy is, this is the main page for the Division of Ag and Natural Resources. Every one of our programs sits underneath this main page. So this is where we'll find 4-H, the state 4-H program, Master Gardener, and so on. This little search term up here, this little search box, is it's called a hierarchy. So I'm at the most upper level of everything that's in A&R. And this is where the tool works best. If you're trying to search all of A&R for some topic that you're looking up for, this is where somebody may put it in. So if I typed up, let's use the example of the steps to success. And if I click there, it's going to find steps to success in a lot of different places for us here. Tuolumne County will find it. There's Mariposa Steps to Success Supplement. All these things. This looks at every web page that's within A&R. But if I go to, say, my county page, or say County 4-H website, and I use that same search term and look up steps to success, let's type that again, steps to success. It's not going to find anything for me because I don't have any direct steps to success listed in this page. Now, if I go to the California State 4-H web page and type in steps to success, it's going to find results that are within the State 4-H web page. It's not going to actually find those webs. It's still searching right now. So look, this search looks very different than the one that I did from the A&R, ucanr.edu website. So if you're not sure what people have on their websites and you wanted to find maybe All-Star or some process that other counties are using, and you don't want to go to individually go to those counties and look up that process, you can type it in the A&R, ucanr.edu search profile. But if you know you're like specifically looking for something within the 4-H program, you're going to want to go directly to CA4H or go to the county. So that's the search hierarchy function. There's a lot of, you'll have to play with it a little bit, but this is how, like, again, when I was looking up information about the handbook for new families that we just recently released, that's where I went to A&R's website here and typed in different search tools for that to see what was available within our system already. Are there any questions regarding the hierarchy function? Okay.
So I have a question, right?
Yes.
Charles here. Why would you not just do a search directly through Google? Why would you go directly to those sites?
So the site actually does use Google as its search, but it uses only what's in A&R. So what it tries to do is separate out it's like separating the chaff from the wheat, if you will. So there might be additional websites that I don't need to know, I'm not looking up for. You can go directly into Google if you'd like to, but for me, what it does is really say, this is the stuff that is in our websites that I can probably trust, at least, coming from the sites that we know of. So you may, like if I typed in steps to success in Google, or steps to success California 4-H, it might show some topics, it'll show some other things that are not part of like documents that I'm looking for, or maybe, so I'm using the A&R website as like the definition of what I want it to look into. Yeah, and be careful of locating outdated forms too. That's one of the things that will happen if you do a Google search. Google picks up everything, old and new. So even if you haven't deleted a form from your, like you've removed a form from your website, but not deleted it from the file vault, it still exists on the internet, and people can get those forms, particularly like old. We had some folks in Merced last year that turned in their record book on documents that were 2 years old. They were outdated by the state stuff because it was still in our system. So I really try to push people to use links to the statewide website to point to links versus us having the documents on our system. That's important. Thank you, Cheryl. A neat little tool I'm going to share right now is called the URL Squisher. Again, that goes back to our portal. I always go back to the portal. And by the way, if you look at this portal tool on the left-hand side under My Profile, there's these portal tools and then My Links. So sometimes you may be traveling and may not have access to your laptop or your computer, and you're trying to think of a link that you created at some point and don't know where to find that item. This little My Links right here, you can add your own links here. For me, I wanted to add Lynda Com on there. There's some other ones on there. But these have, you can add any link you want there. There's some that are already created for you there. I always forgot where the branding toolkit was, and it used to be up in the corner up here, but it's no longer there sometimes, so I put it over here and just left it there for myself. So this is where you can add your own links, but my favorite little tool here is called the URL Squisher. And some of you are like, well, what? What's URL? So URL is when you take an existing A&R, really long, so here's an example, really long URL, and we want to shorten it down to something that you can remember. So remember earlier I was talking about those surveys. Well, the survey tools they have numbers at the end of them, and there's a lot of extra information to have to remember. Well, I want to make it down into something small, so what it does is it makes it HTTP, so it looks like this, and then you add your own ending to it if it hasn't already been used. And it squishes it down to that and makes it a searchable, or makes it a easy to remember website. So, and you can make no one really is using QR codes much anymore. Those were kind of a fad for what, about 5 years, Charles? 3 to 5 years maybe. But these squishers really make it so you can remember where everything is at. If it's particularly if you're trying to have signups for your events or activities at your county level, maybe you want to make one that says, for me, Madera Fashion Review, and I can call it that, and that's the click that they'll go to. They'll click on that link, and that'll take them to the survey that I created to sign up for Fashion Review. So that's what the Squisher is. Not a lot, but it's fun. Fun little tool. There is a file vault that we've used in the past, but I'm going to pause on that one simply because a lot of people are using other places to store items now, although A&R gives us the opportunity to use the A&R file vault. It's just like having a place. It's protected. It's like using the cloud. It's like using Box or Dropbox, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm not going to really go into too much depth in that one.
Oh, I'm listening to a webinar.
So
okay,
that's where that's at right now. The next one that I want to cover is called Lynda.com. So in your...
Russ,
yes?
Russ, 1 second. Question. Why would you not use FileVault, or can you talk a little bit about benefits and why use FileVault, Box, Dropbox, or does it matter?
I will get to those towards the end. I've got a whole session or slide to share about all of the various cloud storage places.
Great. Thank you.
Yep. So Lynda.com is an online training session or learning software that A&R and the University of California has paid for us to use. As supervisors can actually assign trainings for your staff to follow through with, but you can actually go in there. So the first thing you'll need to do is sign up for a Lynda account. And you've got to use your UC A&R web account there. And again, I'm going to show you where that's at. So I'm in the portal under My Links, and this is already added there for us. It's called Lynda.com. And I already have an account there, so I'm going to sign in with my account and open up Lynda. And I'm going to show you exactly what they have available. So there's a lot of webinars to watch. And one of them you might want to look at is Excel training. So some of you really, there's a lot, may want to look at Excel as a way to store your data. If you're trying to create mailing lists or things like that, when we extract the data out of California 4-H Online, it comes from Excel. And there's a lot of ways we can manipulate that information. And one of the ways you can do that is going through and taking this free essential training for Excel. So if you don't know how to use Excel, they have beginner, intermediate, and advanced. You can also see how long this training is. Nearly 9 hours. You can pause and take it 20 minutes at a time. And do it when you have an opportunity. You can also search it and look for a specific task that you're trying to accomplish. There's intermediate, there's advanced, there's all kinds of different levels there. Now, there's more than that. So if I went up here, you can see there's all these types of trainings: business, design, IT, marketing. So if you want to learn how to do some marketing for your local county program and look for design options, there's that. So what about video? We just did a little short video tutorial on how to create 2 to 3 minute videos to upload to Facebook or YouTube, and we'll be doing that again here in Merced. But this will show you how to create some of those things on there for you as well. There's a whole bunch of information here. It's completely searchable. You can search up here for whatever you'd like to learn about, and it's free. My recommendation is get in there and check it out. If there's something you're like either having a problem with or you'd like to learn a little bit more about, this is that place to go to. Again, provided for free.
Hey, Russ, how do you assign it to people, as you mentioned?
So, Charles, one of the things you'll need to do is HR, and in my case, I work with Jody Azuli, and what she does is if whoever you supervise, you send them their email. They have to have already enrolled into Lynda.com, and then she assigns
Uh-huh.
to your account, and then you can assign them the training.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, you can contact me if you need more information.
Excellent.
And that was Jody, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Jody. I appreciate that.
Sure.
She's the one that's been working with me on this one, and I will be assigning some. And this is the deal too. So, Jody, I wanted to clarify one thing. Are there, like, if we have a volunteer or two in our program that do some very specific work for us in the office, are our volunteers able to sign up, or would they have to use the account of the individual who, the A&R individual?
Okay. This is what, let me just give a little context to this question that Russ is asking. It used to be that we had 5 generic logins, which for 25 licenses, and because they were generic, anybody could get in. And then we found out that we were using our contract incorrectly because we only had 25 licenses. But now that learning and development, or the training budget, has taken over the Lynda Com contract licensing, we're only paying for employees of A&R. But, you know, if an employee, let's say a master gardener coordinator or a 4-H volunteer manager, or someone wants to share like a learning module on Lynda.com just by opening it from their own account, that should be okay. I really would like to check in more with Lynda.com to make sure that's true. But you know, if you're going to just show it to one other person and they're not, you know, signing in with your account, that should be fine. I would think that it might be a problem if we start giving out our individual account codes to people. So I will double check on the first of the two, but I would not recommend sharing your, you know, account code information with volunteers.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that either. It would be more like I'm sitting down with the volunteer looking over this together, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you.
And I'll check in and get back. I'll get back to Russ too about, you know, the first, which is, you know, just opening a module and sharing it with someone by sitting in the room with them.
And so again, if you supervise any staff within A&R, student assistants or whatever, you contact Jody and she can work with you to assign to set up that system for supervisors.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Okay, the next piece. So the portal is really important for you to get to know. If you've not been on the portal much, there is a lot here. I only covered a couple of those things. And one last thing I do want to share is, if you didn't know, at the very bottom of this, in the center column of the portal, is every office that you have a A&R account in. So for me, I have Merced, Madera, and Mariposa. They list here the network information. So the wireless information that you, like, everyone's always looking for, what's the password and so on. So whatever office you're assigned to, you get that information from right here. So I clicked on Madera Wireless and it tells me, okay, they're using the exact same guest and staff passwords as many other offices. So that's where you'll find that information for your office. You won't have it for the A&R building unless you're in the A&R building. The other piece here is you can actually connect via remote desktop to your office. I rarely use this because I just keep my computer with me, and I'm all cloud-based now, so there's really not a reason to do remote desktops anymore unless you're wanting to print stuff and leave it there for somebody or work with somebody, or you have files in a file server at your computer at your office. So I will share, I'm going to remind you all too, I am hosting here in Merced on December 12th a technology, winter technology meeting where we'll actually sit down and work in small groups, and we can actually go through each one of these things individually. My intent today is to just show you kind of the broad overview of what's available at your fingertips. Great. Okay, so the next slide here is about scheduling meetings. I think you've all had times when you cannot schedule a meeting, and you may have actually seen this before, but I want to remind you of this tool called Doodle. Doodle has been around for 7, 8 years now, probably a little bit longer, but this little tool can be created to help you determine a best time to meet. I know Jody uses this. We have about 25 people that are part of this performance management certificate series, and trying to schedule time with supervisors can be hectic, and we can't just sit on the phone and say, is this date available for you? It's got to be laid out for us. So I'm going to share my Doodle poll with you. So the website for Doodle is doodle.com. And here I'm going to create one for you right now. So we're going to have a tech tools meeting in Merced, and Merced, California. And then the last thing I'll do, if there's a note I want to add in there, this is like winter technology, I can do that. But what I will share here is I'm going to give a couple of dates and say November. We've already have it selected, but I'll do 11, 12, 13. And then I'm going to add some times to it to say, here's when we would start and end it. So typically, we'll start the meeting at 9, and we'll end at, say, 3 p.m. And then I'll add, so it could be that, or maybe we need to start a little bit later and do a 10 to 2, make it shorter but more intense. So I go back and reset some times there. Get to that. Come on. And then a 10 to 2 meeting. So you can set as many hours and days as you'd like. I've seen them actually created up to like 35 different days when you're really trying to schedule people in there. This is a tool that you can use with your clientele. Let me get this put in here. And it creates this poll for you, and it gives you the link. So this is the link. I can copy it by clicking the word copy. And then people come here, and they select the days and times that work best for them. And then down here at the bottom, it'll show you that availability. Now, there's some actual other pieces to this document, or to Doodle, where you can say if you're trying to schedule it, like if you want to do interviews for 4-H All-Star process, and you just had specific times, you can actually send it out and let them select the time, but only one person can select that time. So there's some play. Doodle allows you to make some adjustments to that, but the easiest way here, if you're trying to set up a meeting, is to go straight in and do exactly what I just did. So that's Doodle. Are there any questions on the Doodle? So here's one I want to share with you also, and this is called a word cloud. I think you've all seen something like this before. This is a word cloud that I created. I did a needs assessment, and I took all the open-ended questions regarding why do you participate in 4-H. It was something along those lines. And I dropped all of the open-ended questions, all those answers from the 800 people who responded, into this software that's online, free, no cost, and created a word cloud. And so what a word cloud is the larger the word is, you can make it larger or more dense or a different color. You can do a lot of different things. The larger the word is, the more often that word was used or that word was found in the data that was given to it. And so the largest ones you can see are kids, leader, project, and then there's a whole bunch of smaller ones. You can actually get rid of and, the, so those little tiny words like that are connectors, that information's taken out. And in this case, I chose it to make a green clover. You can actually choose the shapes for that. And that's found, there's a lot of places that do it, but I found Tagxedo is the website that I chose to use here. And that one is, let me see if I can get to it here. Tagxedo. This is where you can create it. You can use, if you found a website that you wanted to use, and like, hey, what is our Merced 4-H website? What's the most common word in there? It's probably 4-H. but we can put that in there. You can go to news websites and create this, and you click the create button here, and it'll do that. There's also a gallery of designs you can use. This is just kind of a neat tool to use as far as trying to collect information. Like maybe you did an analysis of a customer survey analysis of your latest event, and you had two separate questions. And one question is, what did we do well? And the second question is, what could we do better? And you could actually just draw all that open-ended data and drop it into the into Tagxedo here, where you just drop it into the box and click create. And it will automatically search for the words that are most often found. And then you can say, now I wouldn't use this as like a detailed research analysis, other than to say, these are the words that were most common when people responded. Because it could have said, I don't like kids, but the word kids is still there. You know, so it only picked up on kids. So, you know, you can use this as a way to kind of visually look at the information people are providing you. Further analysis would be good. So that's called a word cloud. Tagxedo does it, and there's other websites that do this as well for free. So contacting your clientele, we have a lot of methods in which we want to contact our clientele, or that we can contact our clientele. Most of us use direct email out of our Outlook inbox or whatever other piece of software you may be using. However, there's a couple of other ways you can do that, and I'm going to go back again real quick to the portal, and then I'm going to talk about California 4-H Online, and then this remind.com that I was just at. So in the portal, underneath the portal tools, you'll have this tool called mailing lists. And when you go to mailing lists, this is a place where you can create your own list. There's the lists that have already been created for us down here at the bottom. And this then it has all the lists that I'm already on. And I can unsubscribe to those lists, so you can see I'm on a lot of email lists when people send me information. I've created my own. An example is back in 2012, when I first came in, or 2013, I did that needs assessment. So I went over and went to 4-H Online and got all of the emails from all 3 counties and dropped them into this mailing list. And this is what it does. You can call it all volunteers. You can give it a description, who can join, who can send emails to it. So in this case, if you want to just send emails out and you don't want to receive anything back, this is just a one direction piece of information, then you can send it out that way. Although if you wanted to open it up and say, you know, I'm going to work with a group of colleagues from around the state on this project, that's where you'd want to say subscribers only, so that if you add people to this, other colleagues, they can send back and forth on there. And then you can also add owners to it. In this case, it was just me. And you can delete the mailing list. Also, you can add banner images to the top of your email. I chose not to because I have folks with slower internet access, and I really needed it just to be text going to them and not clogging up their mailbox. And now I'm going to show you. So this is the all volunteers. These are the subscribers right here. So when I click on this, that's the detail, editing what it does. The next one is there's 822 people in there. I click on this. This is the subscribers to it. These are all of my subscribers. And it'll tell you all this information, when they were added, if they were deleted, if these individuals have unsubscribed, because you can unsubscribe to our emails. And then all you have to do is come up here and copy directly from wherever you've collected emails. So if you got it from California 4-H Online, you can copy and paste it and then click add to list, and it drops them in here. And it puts them in alphabetically by their email. So that's the mailing list here. And the one last tool is actually, the one thing about the mailing list that I do like is I can go back and see any emails that I sent out. It keeps the messages there. I can create the message here. It has the tools in this to do that. But I can also go back and see any previous messages that were sent to them. In this case, the last message I sent was on the 30th of September in 2013. And you can see all the previous messages that were sent. So this way, it's all in one place. That's the benefit of the mailing list. It's a little bit bulky, but you'll never get bounce backs. So you'll never know, you won't specifically know in your inbox unless you came here to see a subscriber that says not valid, and I deleted them on my own. So that's the mailing list. Again, that's in the A&R portal. The second way that you can send emails, and I'm going to bring up the A&R portal one because most people already are contacting, most of our clientele have already contacted a UC A&R or a UC Davis email, which typically means that we are on a white list. That means we're not going to go into their junk folder, not always, but we won't go in their junk folder or their spam folder, so we're already sort of whitelisted. The next one I'm going to share is the 4-H Online website. And you can send emails from here, but the thing I don't like about it is it hasn't been completely whitelisted yet, although most of our volunteers and families should have already been receiving emails from us, but it's all dependent upon them on their end. But you can do emails directly from this page. If you wanted to, you can go through and do these ad hoc flags, where you just, I'm going to clear all the flags off my account right now. I can go in here and flag individuals that I want to send emails to. Maybe it's just some specific folks. And then I come up here and I can create an email that goes out to them individually or in group. So again, most of you already know you can see right here it says email flag members or email the search results. So if I wanted to do, say, an email, let me see, there's a question here. There's an email function here where I can either flag these emails to flag members, and I can create the subject here, type it in. I can send it to the members, their families, and additional CCs as well, or text messages if they chose to. Or you can run your search results here and then email to your search results. So this is just a quick way to send some email out, but I don't particularly care for it because it actually comes from 4-H Online, not UC A&R. I've used it to do this, but this is where I would come to collect the data about emails that I'm going to be sending out. So I would come here and click on Julie Adams' name and make sure this is the email that I have in here, and that's where I would drop it in, or I can run a report. I'm not going to go over 4-H Online reports. That's a lot of detail for it. I apologize. That is one thing that if you want to learn a lot more about 4-H Online, I do highly recommend you come to our technology meeting here on December 12th in Merced. Joanne Ratto is an expert at this and will be sharing a lot of ways to use that information. Susanna says she gets a lot of bounce backs when using email lists. Any suggestions on how to fix that? Do you get the bounce backs, like if you have a known email address that you've sent somebody something on Outlook, but it bounces back when you use them? Do they bounce back using the mailing lists? No bounce back on Outlook. So basically, you're able to send it through Outlook, but you get them bounce back on the email. So their systems, internet email systems, are able to actually identify when something's been sent out in mass as a mailing list. So they may actually have a function that prevents us from sending those things, and then it bounces back and says it's not accepted. So maybe it's going to be on their end. Whether it's their system or something that they've set up, Susanna. I don't think we can really do much unless we just let them know, hey, we've tried to send you emails before using our mailing list, but they bounce back. You may want to check into your internet service provider or your email provider to see if you can adjust and put us on a, quote, white list. So that's the 4-H Online email list. And the last one I'm going to share is called Remind. And Remind is its own sort of system that you can use. And this can be done using your cell phone So if you got like a group of all-stars and they want to contact each other back and forth and have some interaction with each other, you can actually create messages and send out announcements to individuals. Here, I've already created one, and I can upload video or a file with it and send it out to everybody. And what this does is allows people to interact with it. It looks more like a chat pod. Teachers use this in the classroom as a way to interact with their students during class sessions. So let me show you an example here. In California 4-H Online, actually, let me go back here to all classes. So I've got a couple of different things in here that I've created before. You can actually create some quizzes, things like that. But this is just a way to send out messages. So from your computer, you can send texts to the people who sign up. So, you know, we find that youth tend to respond to texts. I don't do Snapchat. I don't think it's a good way to contact because the information goes away. There's a bunch of other tools they use, but I want to be able to use a tool to contact them and they get the information directly. I can I can text directly from my desktop. I don't have to do it from my phone, and I get to follow the email, the reminders from them there as well. So I don't have to text from my phone and get the blow up on there. I can just do it from this system, but they all can contact each other as well. It's a opt-in though. They have to give you their phone number and say they want to participate. They're not going to automatically just start getting those texts from you.
So Russ, there's a question from Kelsey in the chat box.
Let me get that real quick here. My system's a little slow over here. Charles, can you read?
Yeah, it says basically Kelsey's question is, Remind has to be used with people who have phones with data, correct?
It's those who actually can receive text. It doesn't have to be data. So if they're able to receive text, they can. So that is.
Can they use, if they have like a school Wi-Fi, would that work?
I don't think school Wi-Fi works for text. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks out there. I think text has to come over the cellular system, not through data. So even like when somebody gets an MMS multimedia message with pictures and that kind of stuff, it won't come across the system at all because it has to go through the cellular system.
So, and Kelsey had a follow-up. I have people who still have flip phones. I think flip phones should receive texts though. Yeah,
and Kelsey, this is a it's a very specific tool that I've used with other folks where they've said contact me via text. They've given me the permission, and this is what it really is about. It really is about an opting in. I'm not automatically just going to put them into the system and start sending them texts without their permission. We use this for our all-stars to be contacting each other regarding, this was about some events that they were trying to participate in. They still have their documents online, but this was trying to figure out some more detail in live time. So those with flip phones, you know, you're gonna have to push A, B, C 3 times to get to the letter, you know, the letter 2 3 times to get to the letter C. And it's not fun. So I wouldn't recommend this for flip phone users.
Right.
But for teens and volunteers or millennial volunteers, if they prefer to be contacted this way, this might be a good choice for you. Again, it's Remind is the website, remind.com. And it's a great way for you to set up being able to send texts from your computer to their phones.
Great. And I second that, Russ, in terms of this has been a really good way to connect with younger people. A lot of our younger people have smartphones, and that's just, they communicate that way.
And we all know that multiple points of communication with our information is highly valuable. So the more points of contact you can make with some of that information, the better. Some people don't read their email for a day or two. Others aren't going to collect their mail for a week. Some people don't look at Facebook. Some people look at texts when they beep because the phone beeps. So we recognize, and that's why I really wanted to show you a couple different ways to send messages and contacting our clientele. so that you can find other ways that might be helpful for you and the specific folks you're working with. So the last, second to last page I want to share with you is this idea around cloud storage. Cloud storage is, it's not relatively new. I mean, if we think about the world in 100 years, yes, it's like a blip of time. But cloud storage is where you can store your data, whether it's your Microsoft Word documents or whatever, off of your actual laptop or desktop computer, so that wherever you go, you actually have access to that information. I know at the state office, they do use servers to put information on, and so they'll store some stuff there. Some people use the stuff on OneDrive. Some people feel comfortable with Google, Box, and iCloud. Just really depends on what you choose to use. These are all, I'll tell you right now, the three that are supported by A&R and your UC Davis accounts are OneDrive, Box, and Google. If you use your A&R or your UC Davis account, if you're running Office 365, you already have a OneDrive account. And I can show you where to find that eventually. I'm not going to do that today, but I just want to let you know that people use this software. And I think my computer just locked up. Can you all still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I can hear you, Russ.
Great, thank you. So all of these have their drawbacks and benefits, but the three that are supported by A&R currently, and I'll show you these, show you some examples right now, are the ones from OneDrive, Box, and Google. And so if I come over here to, I'm going to show you, this is OneDrive, and this is the online version of it, so you can see my screen. It looks just like folders if you used your Windows system. So if I'm going to come in here to my county information, I can go here and I can go to event evaluation, and I've got some things already served in here. So there's Word documents. I can actually work in these online or download them and work on my computer. This is, we have premium OneDrive accounts. I have 1 terabyte of data that I can store. That's a lot of data. And because I work in 3 different counties, I find this is the place where I put a majority of my items. I do use Box, though, and I also use Google Drive to a limited extent. Now, I'm going to show you that you can actually use OneDrive directly on your computer. So on my screen right now, OneDrive is synced with my laptop that I'm using right now. So it looks just like a file folder. So if I come over here and go to, so it says OneDrive, there's 4H, here's counties, event evaluation. Look at that. I have it on my laptop, or I can get it from the OneDrive Live. So it's multiple places you can get it. So if you're, this is what I like about it, because if you're stuck somewhere and you're not on a computer that has Word or whatever, I can get online and use my Office 365 account to review stuff. So that's OneDrive. The second one I want to share with you is called Box. And this is starting to be very popular, because what Box allows us to do is to collaborate. And when we collaborate, we can actually include people that are not UC A&R or UC Davis employees. We can add folks that are outside of our system to collaborate. And let me share with you what that collaboration looks like. So let's go over here to, this is the Descubre Outside Discover Afuera is a piece of software, or excuse me, a piece of curricula that we're using here in Merced. And you can see Jose Campos has access to this, and he can upload videos to these and put them into the sessions. We've also worked on documents together where he and I, at the exact same time in my office, can work on documents and type at the exact same time. So if I go to this grant here that I'm working on, if I opened up, let's say, actually, I'm going to go to a different one because this one's locked a little bit differently. So here we go. I have a group of cluster staff folks that I meet with about once a month that are not in my, particularly in the cluster that I oversee, but they all like working together. And so we have this winter technology meeting that we're doing. And in here, there's a Microsoft Word document. I can click on it and look at it. Here is, by the way, the agenda from last year's, and I'll show you this year's agenda. Actually, should be this one here. So this meeting right here, I can't type in this section right here unless I come over here to open it up online or download it. So if I work on it online, and Jose wants to work on it online at the same time, he can be typing in here as I'm typing, and we can work on a long document together. This is really good for those people that have, like you have a policy committee, and they're trying to type up policies and work on them together for your, or excuse me, operating procedures for your county or their club. And you don't want to email it around for every single update. This is a great way to do that. And as soon as you type in it, it's automatically saved in the system, and you don't have to do anything other than just type. And see where it says save the box? Every time I make a change, it does that. And I can go back to previous versions as well. So Box is available to you. I put it in my portal. There's Dropbox is another one, but I want to show you where it's called UCD Box. And I have the app for, or sorry, the link is actually in Box right here on my slide. Let me get that back for you real quick. So if you click on this link right here on the picture inside the slide, the link is there in Box for you. I'm not going to go through the other two. They're very similar, but it's just different ways to store your data. I do highly recommend not saving all of your data on your laptop, at least without a backup. I use backups. I use a server, and I have a backup to our server, and I use a cloud storage. I don't want. We're an information-based organization. I don't want to lose what I've tried to work on for years. You can ask Charles what it's like to lose something in the old days, because I've done it too.
Hey, be careful.
Hey,
Aging us.
we've been around for a while. So the last one I'm going to share, and this is just a quick little thing. It's called Socrative. You know who Socrates is. They have the Socratic method of discussion. And this is a way to do that online using phones and in your classroom. So if you're teaching a session and you really want to engage your youth by asking them quizzes, you want to talk to them about, have them participate in giving feedback during the middle of the class, you can do that on the slide screen here. Let me see if I can, I'll bring the website up. So I created this quiz that I can share with you, and I can enable it, and you can all participate. I'm just going to show it to you. But Socrative is what I logged into, and they can actually, I use technology to enhance my training activities, and they can answer that and submit it. And I can have all these questions and live post them on the screen, or they can follow along on their cell phone or their computer to answer the questions as I go through. There are quizzes, they can do reports, I can edit things like that. There's a bunch of existing quizzes here. Here's a demo quiz. Which of the following presidents was not a K-12 or a college teacher? In that case, Ronald Reagan was is the right answer. And you can do multiple choice and so on. Socrative is a great way to engage your clientele, so maybe you want to think about ways to talk to them. So, and this might be something you want to share with your volunteers also, for those of you that work with volunteers, as a way to get them to take up some technology. It is really, believe me, it's super easy to use. It's not difficult. I can sit down with even some of our more seasoned volunteers to pick this up and use it from their computer or from their cell phone as well. Socrative, it's just one of those ones. It's fun to play with. You might find a way to use it in your system, but I just really wanted to toss that one out there as a way to engage your clientele, whether it's your millennials, your I think they're calling the next generation the I generation, and so on. So there's just kind of this tool that you can use. So
You mean your kids, Russ?
What's that?
Are your kids in the I generation?
Mine, I guess, would be considered I generation. One was born in 2001, the other one was in 2005. So probably so. Otherwise, mine is like the last of my older one's the last of a millennial generation. I have to go back and look. So I want to go back and recap what I shared with you real quick in the last 3 minutes. I really highly recommend that you all get on the portal and start clicking on these things. Collaborative tools is sort of the old way to hold data, but it still has its value. We've been using Box a lot more lately to store that data. But get over here, make some surveys, and this is where I think it's a really important. I'm going to go back to this one survey that I did for outreach methods documentation, and I can view the survey results. This is people who filled out the form for me for this year, and I can download it as an Excel document. So if those of you who are trying to set up events and activities, it's already set up, so you can just run your reports and create name tags and put people in rooms. The second thing I shared with you outside of the portal was Lynda Com. You'll need to sign up for your account. It's free. Go on there and search for the things that you think you need some help with. You can do this from your desktop, and it saves exactly where you're at. So you can spend 20 minutes, or if you had, 8 hours and 32 minutes, you can do the Excel training. There's the Doodle Poll that you can use at doodle.com. Tagxedo creates the word clouds. In this case, mine was the 4-H clover. Remind 101 is the opportunity to send people texts from your desktop. So you're not having to do it from your phone. You don't have to type everything on your phone there. This was the 4-H Online, showing you how to send emails directly from 4-H Online, either by flagging them or creating a report. This right here is Office 365 Online, but I'm using the box. This is where we store a lot of documents that we're collaborating on at the same time. And that's what it looks like when it's open online to work in. This is OneDrive online versus OneDrive on my computer. So this is just the browser edition of that. And then finally, Socrative is a way to engage your audience in learning sessions. So this might be another way, if those of you who do any kind of tests for knowledge, test of knowledge, this might be a good way to do that. There's other things you can do with it. I'm just showing you the quiz option. So that, my friends, ends my quick overview presentation of the tools that are available to you through A&R and other locations. Are there any questions? Oh, Cheryl asked, remember, yes, you can copy surveys. So this is the best deal. Lynn Schmidt-McQuitty created outreach documents for us. She just copied it and made me the person, and then I got to use it. I didn't have to recreate it. So if you see surveys and people share surveys that people have, we can share them directly out there. It's the best thing. That's again, my favorite tool that A&R has provided us. Kelsey, I will share that. Actually, I think Jolynn may have a copy of it, but I'll send that to you. I'll make a copy of it for you. For all of you, again, the presentation, I'll send it to Charles right now, so you have access to that with the links directly in there. And then this video presentation was also recorded today.
Yep. So first, everybody, we're at 11 o'clock, right on time, Russ. Join me in thanking Russ for taking the time to do this. We really appreciate it. You always have great ideas, Russ, and I picked up some good stuff too. So
thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Also, if you get a chance and you're not already a member of the 4-H Association, we highly recommend it. The more members we have, the more recognition that we can provide to our very qualified staff and advisors in our program at the state, national, regional, and national level as well.
Right, and that deadline's coming up. So thank you, Russ, for segueing into that. Please consider joining. And the next month, we're going to have the topic of why don't they come? Strategies to increase Latino participation in outreach programs. And the following few months are still to be arranged. So if you have any topics or ideas that you're interested in or want to work in or want people to expand on, please go ahead and send an email to me, and